The Everett Elks are back once again, and unfortunately they've lost all their players and they're back to a 0 overall team. However, we're still going to find a way to win this T1 Stanley Cup, and today we're going to be doing it through jersey numbers. So what we're going to do is every single season I'm going to go ahead and spin this wheel, and we're going to be getting one jersey number, and it looks like that first jersey number is going to be 91. From there, we're going to find out which players have worn the number 91 so far this season, and you know what, I already know for a fact we got some greats. So we can choose from guys like Steven Stamkos, Nazem Kadri, John Tavares, Tyler Seguin, Evander Kane, Vladimir Tarasenko, and the list goes on. But for our first selection, I'm going to be going with Steven Stamkos. So Steven Stamkos, not only are you going to be the first player that we're adding to our team here, but you're going to be the only player from the Tampa Bay Lightning because I'm only allowed to select one player per team. So Tampa's representative is going to be Steven Stamkos, and honestly, that's a pretty good start to the video. A 90 overall who has franchise potential, and he's got a ton of X factors. He's going to score some goals for us, and he's going to be the first player joining the team. And since we're doing this with season mode, that means I have to eliminate one team. Last time I did a video similar to this, I took out the San Jose Sharks, seeing as they were the lowest overall. But you know what? I think there's one team that stands alone when you look at all these NHL teams right here. The Arizona Coyotes, you're going to be the team substitute today. You're moving to Utah. I don't know how to feel about that, but you know what? You're going to get a new owner, and there's no way that your new owner can be any worse than the guy you just had, because that man was awful. So here's what the team's going to be looking like for year number one. Obviously, we have a ton of superstars in Jordan NHL, another Jordan NHL, but this one's a right defenseman playing on the left wing. But Steven Stamkos, you're going to be the only competent NHL player on this team. I want to see if you can record one shot this season, not even 1 point. I want to see if you can take one shot. And while we wait for the season to simulate here, you already know I'm trying to hit 62,000 subs by the end of the month, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do that if over 80% of the people that watch these videos don't subscribe. So if you are part of that 80%, subscribe and join the family. Also, I think we have to accept the fact that this game just broke and we can't simulate any further, so we're going to say season number one's done here, and we're going to get ready for season number two, and that means we're adding a new player. So we replaced the Arizona Coyotes, and we can't even get through season number one. For some reason, that just seems fitting. With our next selection, we're going to be selecting a player who wears number 65. When it comes to number 65, there's one man that stands alone here. That's going to be Erik Karlsson. He's going to be the first defenseman joining the team. And although Erik Karlsson is technically the first defenseman that we're acquiring here, more than likely in season number one, he's not going to be playing defense. Now, as I said earlier, Erik Karlsson, you're probably not going to be playing defense here. This is what the coach is cooking up. He wants you playing first line right wing minutes. You're a right defenseman. He wants you on the right wing alongside Steven Stamkos. What could possibly go wrong here? And while we simulate this season, we all know that Stick on the Ice likes to stand on business, and I want to make this video a bit more entertaining. So this is what we're going to be doing. The Arizona Coyotes are a poverty franchise. Worse than the NHL, they're moving to Utah. If I go through all 32 NHL teams and we don't win a Stanley Cup, I will buy an Arizona Coyotes jersey. Now you may be thinking, Stick on the Ice, that's not too fair. I mean, you're going to add 32 different players. Of course you're going to win a Stanley Cup. In the event I get incredibly unlucky and we do 32 wheel spins and I don't add a goaltender, that means we won't win a Stanley Cup. We're not going to win a Stanley Cup with a 0 overall goaltender in between the pipes. So I'm willing to stand on business and hope that over the next 32 spins, we are going to get a competent enough goaltender in order for us to win a Stanley Cup. Now, it's no surprise that this team's not winning a single game this season, but there is one thing I want to point out. We scored 5 goals this season, and on top of scoring 5 goals, all 5 goals came from Steven Stamkos. He was the guy. Erik Karlsson, 5 assists here. He was minus 421. Erik Karlsson was minus 420. Yeah, this team actually took a handful of shots this season. I am very impressed. Compared to the last video I did that was very similar to this, we were not seeing this many shots being taken. But Steven Stamkos, he's looking to shoot, and I'm definitely not against it. When it comes to the goaltending numbers, these are certainly numbers. Now, for our first Stanley Cup champions of the video, it looks like that's going to be the New York Rangers sweeping the Edmonton Oilers. With another season concluded, that means it's time for us to spin the wheel once again, and we're going to be finding out which number we're getting next here. Number 61, I can certainly live with that. So when it comes to jersey numbers, of course, Stick on the Ice, he has the best knowledge when it comes to this, and Mark Stone, you're going to be the next player joining the team here. 53 points so far this season. I'm excited to see what you do in game number 1 of the playoffs, because we all know you're going to play in game number 1 at the playoffs. Now, Mark Stone actually had a legitimate injury, like he lacerated his spleen or something, but I do find it funny when his injury report came out, they're like, okay, he's out 6 to 8 weeks. The second it hit the 6-week mark, Vegas tweets out, oh yeah, Mark Stone's back, he's on the ice, he's ready to practice. Like, how perfect was that? Now, it looks like the coach is cooking up a bit of depth scoring. Erik Karlsson, you're moving down to the second line. Mark Stone, you're going to be playing on the first line alongside Steven Stamkos. Would it make a lot more sense for this team to have one really good line? Absolutely. But if this is what the coach wants, this is what the coach gets. 36 overall, Jordan NHL, who's actually a right defenseman, playing left winger for us. And yes, these are literally the head coach preferred lines. This is what this man is cooking up. Okay, I can't even explain what just happened here. Obviously, this team's not going to win any games here, and obviously we're going to score a few more goals. But who led our team in scoring? How? How did Erik Karlsson just lead this team in scoring? He was on the second line alongside 0 overall players and still found a way to outscore Mark Stone and Steven Stamkos. He was by himself, 15 points, 3 goals, 12 assists, 15 points. He had nobody. In what universe could something like this happen? Like, that makes absolutely no sense. Shout out to the Carolina Hurricanes, Stanley Cup champions. They beat the Dallas Stars. But Erik Karlsson really did that. Like, he's him. That might be the greatest performance of all time. So what Erik Karlsson did last season is nothing short of spectacular, but we do have to move on here to add another player to the team. Our next selection is going to be coming from jersey number 90. So I feel like once you get to jersey number 80 and above, you're basically guaranteed a great player every single time. But this is kind of a risky decision. Now, we could technically go with Elvis Merzlikins, and then we have a goaltender, and we don't have to worry about that. However, he's probably only like an 82 overall goaltender. Is he going to be able to win us a Stanley Cup even after we build a super team around him? I'm not too sure. So I think we got to go with Ryan O'Reilly here. St. Louis legend, the captain of the team. He helped us win a Stanley Cup. I think that's what we're going to be doing here. So Ryan O'Reilly, you're going to be the guy we select here. Before I confirm the selection though, I do want to look at Elvis Merzlikins, because if he is like an 84, 85 overall, then we might bring him to the team. Okay, he's an 84. I think we could win with an 84 overall goaltender. So I'm taking back what I said. We're not going with Ryan O'Reilly. Elvis Merzlikins, we're going to be picking you up here. Now we're going to have a goaltender for the future, and we never have to worry about picking another one up. I mean, eventually we are going to need a backup goaltender, but Elvis Merzlikins, I think we could win a Stanley Cup with you. And after acquiring Elvis Merzlikins, this team's going to be improving to a 6 overall. Times are changing here. We're about to be one of the best in the entire league sooner than later. So when it comes to the offense from this team, obviously it's going to be bad once again. Steven Stamkos, Mark Stone, Erik Karlsson are going to be holding it down for the forward core. We don't have any defensemen yet. However, we do have Elvis Merzlikins in net for us now, so we're going to be seeing a big change in our goals allowed. So I don't know what changed this season, but our offense was significantly worse. We only scored 7 goals all year. How did we go from Erik Karlsson having 15 points last season to him only having 7 this year? Mark Stone has 7, Steven Stamkos has 6. What happened to the offense here? Merzlikins' goaltending numbers aren't that bad considering he faced 4,500 shots this season. He had a 906 save percentage. That's the real thing we're paying attention to. A 906 is actually pretty solid. Meanwhile, it looks like the $96 million team, the Vegas Golden Knights, is going to be taking down the Detroit Red Wings in a 5-game series. So after adding a goaltender, somehow our offense got worse. Like, that makes any sense here. With the next spin of the wheel, it looks like we're going to be selecting number 55. So when it comes to number 55, there's a bunch of great players available here. We can go with Mark Scheifele, Quentin Byfield, Thomas Harley. We could have gone with Noah Hanifin, but unfortunately we already selected Mark Stone, so we can't take another player from the Vegas Golden Knights. Ryan Lindgren wouldn't be the worst player in the world here, a good defensive defenseman, but you know what? I think we gotta stick with Mark Scheifele. So with the addition of Mark Scheifele, we officially have one forward line: Mark Scheifele, Steven Stamkos, and Mark Stone. And Erik Karlsson, you're officially going to be playing some defensive minutes this season. I'm going to make you our number 1 right defenseman, and you're actually going to play defensive minutes for once. So I'm expecting the offense to be way better this season with Steven Stamkos, Mark Scheifele, and Mark Stone playing alongside each other. And to help the defense, Erik Karlsson's going to be playing some top line minutes here. We can almost have 6 legit NHL players out there. All we need is one more left defenseman, because as we know, in between the pipes for this team, we got Elvis Merzlikins. So it looks like one forward line was enough for us to get 1 overtime loss this season. Now normally I would rip on the Seattle Kraken for only beating us 3-2 and them giving us our only overtime loss of the season. However, Seattle bounced back a couple weeks later as they beat us 21-1. So I can't really run my mouth against the team when in our next matchup they beat us 21-1. So one forward line's going to mean quite a bit for this team. Mark Stone, 39 points this season. He's picking up 12 goals. Mark Scheifele, 20 points, 37 points. Steven Stamkos, 37 points. While Erik Karlsson, he's going to be picking up 30 as well. So we have 4 30-point scorers on the team right now. And when it comes to the goaltending, Merzlikins, 1 OT loss, a 900 save percentage, of 573 goals against. The team's headed in the right direction, that's for sure. Also, Elvis Merzlikins faced less than 4,000 shots this season. That's a massive improvement from what we saw last season. Okay, real talk, how did Philadelphia make it all the way to the Stanley Cup final, and how did they push the Colorado Avalanche to 7 games? No disrespect to Philly, but they're not that good of a team. So it's time for us to get ready for another season, and that means we gotta spin the jersey numbers wheel once again, and this time we're gonna be picking up jersey number 2. So we have a difficult decision to make. Jersey number 2 could give us a player like Evan Bouchard. However, if we select Evan Bouchard right here, that means we can no longer bring anyone from the Edmonton Oilers. That means no Draisaitl, and that means no Connor McDavid. So do I pass up on a guy like Evan Bouchard and add Zub to the team instead? And then that still gives us the chance of getting either Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. So when it comes to the Evan Bouchard selection, I think we do have to realize the odds of us getting either Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid is less than a 3% chance. So I'd rather get an 87 overall when I know I'm guaranteed one. So with the addition of Evan Bouchard to this team, we can officially run a 5-man lineup. Bouchard's going to be playing alongside Erik Karlsson. I don't really care that Bouchard's a right defenseman playing on the left side. We just need bodies on the ice, and you can really play any position you want. If you want to be our backup goaltender, go ahead and do that. You can't be worse than that 36 overall we have. Okay, hold on. We only have 6 players on this team, and we were somehow able to beat the LA Kings 4-3. You lost to a team that has 6 NHL players on it. We have 3 forwards, 2 defensemen, 1 goaltender, and you still lost to us. The rest of the team is 0 overall players, and the LA Kings lost to us. You got to abolish your franchise. This might be worse than what's happening to the Arizona Coyotes right now, I'm not going to lie. So we finally have our first big trade of the video. Pellikka and Edmondson are going to be sent over to the Washington Capitals, and Detroit's making a massive push for the postseason here, picking up John Carlson and Max Pacioretty. So Detroit's not kidding about winning a Stanley Cup this season. Ryan O'Reilly's going to be acquired, Tyson Barrie's going to be acquired, and Sissons is going to be acquired. Marco Kasper, you're out the door. So it was certainly an interesting season for the team. That early win we're taking here is going to be the only one we get this season. Evan Bouchard for being an offensive defenseman, I was expecting more than 9 points. Meanwhile, Mark Scheifele only 15 points this season. Yeah, the fall off happened real quick for this team. Like, we were a decent offensive team last year. A lot of that offense just didn't translate into this season. However, we did pick up 1 win, so we can celebrate that. Merzlikins, of course, is going to be picking up that 1 win for us while we post a 902 save percentage. It looks like we've got a similar result to last postseason, as the Colorado Avalanche are going to be taking home in a 4-2 series over the Carolina Hurricanes. Detroit did put up a good fight though, making it all the way to the conference finals, so I guess those trades were worth it. Alright, so we still have a long ways to go before this team wins a Stanley Cup, and what we need is a big time player here. Number 37 is not a bad selection here, but I would have preferred 36. So the reason I wanted jersey number 36 is then we could bring John Gibson onto the team, but then again, I do have to remember he's not the goaltender that he used to be, and his overall certainly isn't what it used to be. This guy used to be like a 90 overall goaltender. I think he's dropped down to an 86 overall. Now with jersey number 37, who could have we had? Well, we could have had a guy like Connor Hellebuyck, but unfortunately, we've already selected one player from the Winnipeg Jets, being Mark Scheifele. So instead of selecting Connor Hellebuyck, we're going to be walking away with Svechnikov here. Now, we're doing this selection for 2 reasons. Number 1, Svechnikov's a high overall, and he's going to be a great player for this team. But number 2, Casey Middlestat's on the Colorado Avalanche. There is a handful of players better than Casey Middlestat on the Colorado Avalanche, so I don't want to eliminate that team from future selections. Yeah, so John Gibson's dropped to an 86 overall. I'm not even sure if he has X factors. He still does, but he certainly isn't the goaltender he used to be. We could have brought in Connor Hellebuyck, a 92 overall goaltender, but instead we're rocking with Merzlikins here because we already took Mark Scheifele away from them. Now, as I've mentioned already, Svechnikov's not a bad pickup here. He's an 88 overall sniper. He's going to be a great help to this team, but considering some of the other options, I would have preferred Connor Hellebuyck because then we would have been guaranteed a Stanley Cup in the future. So although we have a lot of talent on the forward core here, Mark Stone, Steven Stamkos, Mark Scheifele, Svechnikov, we do need an elite playmaker. We got a ton of scorers here, a great power forward, and an amazing two-way player in Mark Scheifele, but we don't have a playmaker for these guys. That's what we're really missing right now. So the Everett Elks are just built different this season. Nobody can compete with them right now. 32nd in the entire league, a 277-3 record. What other team in the NHL can do this? We're in a league of our own. Just over 1 goal per game while only allowing 7.22. No NHL team can compete with us right now. Steven Stamkos, 52 points here. Svechnikov, 50. What a great pickup that was. Even Mark Scheifele on a line by himself is picking up 15 points here. This team is just full of superstar players. And Merzlikins, he's one of the best we have here. A 903 save percentage with 2 wins this season. This team might be winning a Stanley Cup next season. You can't count them out. But I think we might be getting a little bit ahead of ourselves here. We got to add another player to the team. But before we do that, Edmonton's taking home the Stanley Cup over the Boston Bruins. So let's go ahead and spin that wheel and see which number we're going to be landing on next. Hopefully it's not 97. It's number 6. So I think we're going to be adding an elite defenseman to the team. When it comes to the jersey numbers, a lot of the single digit numbers are worn by defensemen. So that's how I know we're going to be picking up a defenseman here. And number 6, we got a bunch of great options here. We could go with Brock Besser, a forward, Travis Sanheim, Jacob Chychrun. There's a lot of great options here. So I think we're going to actually pass up on Brock Besser here because I know for a fact we're going to get some more snipers later on in the video. However, I'm not sure we're going to get the same quality of defenders such as Travis Sanheim, Jacob Chychrun, and Ryan Pollock. So I think I'm cooking a bit with this selection. Stützle, Brady Tkachuk are both 89 overalls. Thomas Chabot and Claude Giroux are still going to be available here. If we go on over to the New York Islanders, Sorokin's available, Matt Barzal is available, and Noah Noah Dobson's available, even Adam Pellick's available over Ryan Pollock. However, when we go over to the Philadelphia Flyers, there's not too many players better than Travis Sanheim, only Carter Hart and Travis Konecny. So based on that logic right there, Travis Sanheim, welcome to the team. You're going to be our number 1 left defenseman. So with the acquisition of Travis Sanheim, he's now going to be playing on the top pairing alongside Erik Karlsson, since he is the only true left defenseman on our team, and Evan Bouchard, you're going to be moving down to the second pairing. But to be fair, that's where you belong since you are a right defenseman. Now it's another disappointing season for the Everett Elks. We saw this one coming, a 3-36-3 record, but we are headed in the right direction, and that's going to include 1 regulation win. No way we were able to beat a team without overtime. I am very disappointed in the scoring though. Like Steven Stamkos, Mark Stone, Svechnikov, you guys did great. Everyone else was a massive disappointment. I guess I could throw Erik Karlsson in the successful tab, but the rest of these guys right here, what were you even doing on the ice? You were just out there doing cardio. Merzlikins, keep on doing your thing here. A 902 save percentage I would like a bit better, considering you are facing 3,700 shots per season. You know what? I'll take a 902, I guess. Merzlikins isn't really going to see any good numbers until we have a good team around him. Meanwhile, the Dallas Stars, they're going to be taking down the Washington Capitals in a sweep in the Stanley Cup final. So I think what we really need here is number 87, number 34, and number 18. And it looks like we're going to be landing on number 89. I'll definitely take that. And of course, I'm very happy with number 89 because that means we're adding superstar Pavel Buchnevich to the team, a St. Louis legend, one of the best on the team. However, it is sad to say, I think your time's running out with the St. Louis Blues. I think you're going to be shipped out sooner than we think. Now, unfortunately, with selecting Buchnevich here, that means Robert Thomas is not going to be able to join the team here because, of course, we can't take multiple players from the same team, but we're adding an elite playmaker. He's got a handful of X factors. He's going to help this team a lot. So with a true superstar in Pavel Buchnevich, we're going to start seeing some big time success here, and he's going to be a great playmaker alongside Steven Stamkos and Svechnikov. We're going to be lighting the lamp this season. I'm predicting about 140 points from each one of these guys right here. I think I'm honestly underestimating the production we're going to see from them. We might even see 200-point seasons. So I have to express my disgust with this team. 3 wins is great because that's what we had last season, but 0 overtime losses, 0 regulation wins. This team regressed after picking up Pavel Buchnevich. Not only did these guys not record 200 points each, but we didn't even score 200 goals. Now granted, the top guys on this team were actually really good. Steven Stamkos 62, Pavel Buchnevich, he's picking up 60, but it's just these guys on the bottom half here. They're not performing when they should be. Okay, this is actually why we sucked this season. Merzlikins' save percentage was under 900. That makes quite a bit of a difference. Meanwhile, it looks like we're going to have a new Stanley Cup champion here, and that's going to be the Winnipeg Jets taking down the Boston Bruins in a 5-game series. But who cares about the Winnipeg Jets because we can't even select a player from them anymore. We're spinning this wheel and we're getting another high number. That's going to be 85. Now, I always love getting jersey numbers in the 80s because you're almost guaranteed amazing players. And with the jersey number 85, that's not really happening here. We're getting Jake Sanderson. Now, this actually works out very well from us because we passed on Jacob Chychrun earlier. If we didn't, we would be picking William Lagesson. That would have been a very tough selection. Now, it's a really good thing that we didn't select Jacob Chychrun because this team could have been in a tough position, and I definitely won't complain about getting 86 overall Jake Sanderson. He's a young player, he's going to keep on getting better, but obviously he's not going to be developing with our team. An 86 is an 86, and that's what he's going to be staying at. And I guess Jacob Sanderson is the most valuable player in the NHL because we went from a 7 overall to a 15 overall. Now, when it comes to our defensive pairings for this season, I don't think it really matters what we do as long as Erik Karlsson's on the first pairing and Evan Bouchard's on the second. Whether Sanheim's on the first or the second, I don't think it really matters. We can switch these guys any way we want to, but I think we're going to rock these pairings for this season and then make moves accordingly. Now, we got some slow motion going on here, but slow motion's better than no motion. Everett's going to have a 6-74-2 record this season, and we're also going to be picking up the most regulation wins we've seen so far, and that's going to be 2 in one season. The scoring numbers are going to be similar to the past couple of years with Steven Stamkos leading the way, while Jake Sanderson, you were a decent enough pickup for us, 14 points, 5 goals, 9 assists in 82 games. While Merzlikins, it was a big bounce back season from you. You have a save percentage back above 500. Hold on, you had a shutout this season? Who did you shut out? We have to figure out which team that we just shut out here. We got to figure out which team that Elvis Merzlikins shut out because there's no reason that should be happening. The Calgary Flames. We beat the Calgary Flames 1-0. I don't even know what to say about that. Calgary, you should be beyond ashamed. Your franchise doesn't deserve to get relocated because of this. We just got to abolish your franchise, and every single player that played for the Calgary Flames in this game shouldn't be released into free agency. They should be forced to retire. You lost 1-0 to a 6-win team, and up until that point, they were a 5-win team. You lost 1-0 to a 5-win team. Ain't no way. Like, that honestly might be one of the most embarrassing things I've seen in a while. We got to head right over to the wheel spin here, and we're going to be getting number 5, so more than likely we're getting another defenseman here. So what I think we really need is a defensive defenseman because we haven't picked up one of those yet. Are we going to be getting that with this next selection? It doesn't look like it. Cody Ceci, Jacob Middleton. Actually, Jacob Middleton Middleton is a defensive defenseman, and Chatfield is as well. However, we can't select Chatfield, we can't select Cody Ceci, so I guess we got to go with Jacob Middleton. So I could have really screwed this up. We were about to bring Jacob Middleton to the team, but instead, we're going to be bringing Aaron Ekblad. I almost passed up on Aaron Ekblad in order to get Jacob Middleton. That would have been tough. Then again, do I pass up on Aaron Ekblad here and go with Jacob Middleton, and then hopefully maybe later we can get Brandon Montour, Carter Verhaeghe, Sam Reinhart, Alexander Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk. All these guys would be great additions to the team. Even a guy like Sergei Bobrovsky would be a 2 overall increase from what we have. Let me just double check what Jacob Middleton's overall is. He's an 84 overall defensive defenseman that can play on the left side. I think we almost have to go with Jacob Middleton here. So we're going to go with Jacob Middleton. We're going to take the risk that we can get another player from the Florida Panthers, and we can bring in a guy like Matthew Tkachuk in the future. We got to make risky moves out here. So we're one defenseman away from completing the defensive core, and Jacob Middleton, the more I think about it, this was actually a good selection because we needed a defensive defenseman on this team. Sanheim, Erik Karlsson, Evan Bouchard, Jake Sanderson, Jacob Middleton. That's a really good defensive core. We're going to add one more elite player later on, but for now, I can live with this. A 10-win season is just around the corner for the Everett Elks right now. A 6, 71, and 5-win season, including 3 regulation wins. The offense continues to get better here, while the defense, I'm still expecting a bit more, but we are below 6 goals a game, so I'll definitely take it. We got ourselves a new scoring leader this season as Svechnikov's taking over, recording 67 points. Stamkos isn't too far behind. He's got 58, and of course, Buchnevich, he's going to be our third leading scorer. He's picking up 52 here. Meanwhile, Jacob Middleton, of course, you're not going to be recording a ton of points here, but 12 points, including 3 goals and 9 assists, I'll take it. And looking at Merzlikins' numbers here, we probably could have had a 10-win season if this man just stopped the puck a bit more. An 895. I need better than an 895 from you. When the postseason wrapped up, who would have thought we would see this? The Colorado Avalanche win the Stanley Cup, and the Detroit Red Wings making it all the way to the Stanley Cup final without making any major trades. I don't know what the Red Wings did to their team in order to make it to the Stanley Cup final, but you know what? Show it to them. So I either want an elite defenseman to fill our defensive core here, or an elite offensive player. We're landing on number 23. I can't really think of anyone off the top of my head that wears the jersey number 23. I also wouldn't be surprised if once we get to jersey number 23, we have like the greatest player of all time that I just completely ignored. So we have options like Adam Fox, Lucas Raymond, and Carter Verhaeghe. I guess I should also highlight some of these other guys. Sean Monahan's down here, Alec Martinez. Elias Lindholm's actually not that bad of a pickup. I might inquire about him because you know what, from the Vancouver Canucks, that's a pretty good selection. Yeah, so I was doing a lot of yapping there for already knowing who we're going to select. Of course, we're bringing Adam Fox to the team, one of the best defensemen in the game, a 92 overall. I was talking about Verhaeghe. I was talking about Elias Lindholm. No, we're taking Adam Fox. Why would I ever go with anyone other than Adam Fox? 92 overall defenseman. He's now our best defenseman on the team. Yeah, this is a no-brainer. The only issue I have with Adam Fox is it's another offensive defenseman, so our right side consists of 3 offensive defensemen. But you know what? This team's going to be scoring some points, but who really cares? This team's going to be scoring points, and we're also up to a 23 overall, so we can celebrate that. So the entire defensive core is complete here. Sanheim, Adam Fox, Erik Karlsson, Jake Sanderson, Jacob Middleton, and Evan Bouchard. A really strong right side that's going to consist of a lot of goals, while the left side, they got to step up and play some big-time defense. Now, it looks like we're seeing a big-time trade this season as the New Jersey Devils are going to be acquiring John Tavares for 2 young prospects. We're not too familiar with those 2 prospects that New Jersey sent over, but I thought John Tavares would have a bit more trade value. Now, I do have some bad news once again this season. We're not hitting 10 wins. On top of that, we're also still below 2 goals per game here. We got to get the offense going. When it comes to the scoring, the king of this team is going to be leading the way in Pavel Buchnevich. He's picking up 75 points, 25 goals, 50 assists. Meanwhile, Adam Fox, I am expecting a bit more from you. As a 92 overall, I'm expecting a bit more than 32 points. Like, you're an offensive defenseman. Go produce offensively. While Merzlikins, your best season yet. Not only are you picking up another shutout here, but a 909 save percentage. That's the best you've had so far. To cap off this season, we're going to see a repeat winner when it comes to the Stanley Cup, and that's going to be the Winnipeg Jets taking down the Tampa Bay Lightning in a 6-game series. So now that we have an incredible defense here, and we do have a goaltender that can hold it down for the meantime, we need to pick some scores, and that's what I'm hoping to get with our next spin. So let's get right into that. Give me number 34. I want to add Austin Matthews to the team. He would be a massive upgrade for us. We're landing on the number 19. We were 1 away from Robert Thomas, but instead, we're getting 19. I mean, it doesn't really matter if we land on 18 because we can't bring Robert Thomas to the team anyway since we have Buchnevich, but 19 is going to be giving us a great player here, and it looks like that player is going to be Matthew Tkachuk. So not picking up Ekblad and not picking up Verhaeghe is working out very well for this team. We just got one of the best in the game. So we made some big time risks, and boy are they working out for us. Matthew Tkachuk, the best player on the Florida Panthers, has now joined this team. We now have a new highest overall, so he's going to be passing Adam Fox here. We passed up on Ekblad, we passed up on Carter Verhaeghe, and it's working out for this team. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, we didn't really pass up on Verhaeghe because Adam Fox was the clear winner when it came to that jersey number. You know what? Verhaeghe was an option, and we did pass over him, so we did make the right decision. So with the addition of Matthew Tkachuk, I'm going to make a bold statement here. We're going to be winning 15 games with Matthew Tkachuk, Svechnikov, Mark Scheifele, Mark Stone, Buchnevich, and Steven Stamkos. The bottom six, who cares that these guys can't play defense? Who cares that they can't shoot? Who cares that they can't skate? They also can't handle the puck. They also have horrible senses, horrible physical attributes. Yeah, these guys can't do anything, but we're still going to win 15 games. Matthew Tkachuk, you might be the most valuable player of all time. Yeah, we're last in the entire league, but we just had a 23-win season. 23, 51, and 8. We got the momentum going. The offense is flying now. We're going to be winning a Stanley Cup here sooner than later. And not only was Matthew Tkachuk's offense amazing, but Steven Stamkos, 93 points. Tkachuk, 79. Pavel Buchnevich, he's picking up 68. We had a handful of guys here having a positive plus minus. Yeah, we're Stanley Cup bound in the next couple of years. Merzlikins, I don't care about your numbers here. You had a 916. That's actually incredible. But Jordan NHL, 1 win. We had a 0 overall goaltender win 1 game this season. Bro did the impossible. But we have to remember we're in some wild universe here, and that has the Toronto Maple Leafs making it to the Stanley Cup final. But of course they're going to lose, and they're going to lose to the Seattle Kraken. I don't know what universe this is, but I don't like it. So from here on out, all we want are superstar forwards and a superstar goaltender. Other than that, we're set defensively. With our next selection, we're going to be picking a player from jersey number 80. Now, as I mentioned earlier, once you get to the higher up numbers, you're almost guaranteed a great player every single time. However, that's not really going to be the case here. We're getting Pierre-Luc Dubois. That's really the best option we have here. So of course, I'm not happy with this selection right here, but I mean, it could be worse. If we had already taken somebody from the LA Kings, then we'd be in a tough position here. But yeah, this is not a great pickup here. 83 overall, Pierre-Luc Dubois. I guess I'll take it because I don't really have any other option, but yeah. We went from Adam Fox and Matthew Tkachuk to Pierre-Luc Dubois just like that. So we've got Pierre-Luc Dubois for the third line center role right now. I mean, it could be worse. We could have had a 0 overall, but there are so many players I would have rather had over him. But you know what? What can I really complain about? Every player we get is going to be an upgrade. So it looks like once again this video, the Detroit Red Wings are making big moves. They're going to be acquiring John Tavares from the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm surprised that's the only move Detroit's making though. Normally they make a handful at the trade deadline. So we added Pierre-Luc Dubois to this team, and he replaces 0 overall player. So clearly we're going to be a better team this season. A 23, 51, and 8 record. We're not much better than last season. However, our offense is way better. 2.96. Somehow we don't have the worst offense in the entire league here. Our defense is the worst by far, but there's a handful of teams that we can score more goals than. That makes literally no sense. Okay, I take that back. Maybe it does make a little bit of sense because Stamkos has 90, Tkachuk has 87. We have a lot of great scoring from the top 6 here. The defense sucks, and so does Pierre-Luc Dubois. But I mean, those top guys, they're performing. And another guy that's performing this season, that's going to be Merzlikins. He's picking up 20 wins, 1 shot, a 907 and a 337. I think we're about 3 players away from truly competing for a Stanley Cup. Until then, we're just going to keep on watching Winnipeg bring home Stanley Cups as they're taking down the Boston Bruins in a 6-game series. So a superstar goaltender would help a lot here because then Merzlikins can move into the backup role, and then we're definitely going to be making the playoffs. I don't care if we don't have a bottom 6. 2 goaltenders is exactly what we need. Now, I'm not too sure if jersey number 45 is going to be giving us a backup goaltender or not. Probably not. It doesn't look like it. Carrier is going to be the best player available here, but we don't really need another defenseman. This is a really bad jersey number here. I guess we go with Matthew Phillips. Matthew Phillips is really going to be our best option here. So I was thinking we were going to be picking up Matthew Phillips from the Washington Capitals. That is not the case. Brosen Hershey. So here we are on the Hershey Bears, and Matthew Phillips, welcome to the team, 78 overall. We're really bringing a 78 overall onto our team. We're down tremendous. Heading into this season, we went to the store and we were thinking we might bring Austin Matthews onto the team, Igor Shesterkin, Vasilevsky. We had high expectations. We walked away with Matthew Phillips. Now, no disrespect to Matthew Phillips, but he's a 78 overall. So yeah, there are better options out there. So if this team wants to make the playoffs, the one thing that we really need right now is a backup goaltender. Everett's finishing with a 26, 51, and 5 record. We would have way more wins if we just had a competent backup. Like offensively, our top 6 was performing this season. Mark Scheifele, 74 points, but let's look at the plus minus. Plus 21 for Scheifele, plus 20 for Svechnikov, plus 15 for Mark Stone. The goaltending is what really holds this team back. Merzlikins, these aren't awful numbers, but look at these numbers from Jordan NHL. A 2-14 record with a 784 784 and a 777. Like, what is this? Obviously, you're going to have terrible numbers. You're a 0 overall goaltender, but if this team has Stanley Cup dreams in the future, we can't have you as our backup. Shout out to the Colorado Avalanche, another Stanley Cup. It's time for us to move on to our next spin to see what we get. Now, as I mentioned, of course, I want another goaltender here. Give me Sorokin or something. I need an elite goaltender. We're getting number 14. Unfortunately, I don't believe there's any goaltender that wears number 14. Now, luckily, we're actually going to be picking up some decent players here. We got Nick Suzuki, Gustav Nyquist, Bo Horvat. There's a ton of great players available here, and I think we're probably going to go with Nick Suzuki. So with this addition of Nick Suzuki, we now officially have a top 9. We have 9 forwards, 6 defensemen, 1 goaltender. We don't need to add too many more players. We have a great core here, but we got to start adding some superstars. So we officially have a top 9 here, and that's going to be rounded out by Pierre-Luc Dubois, Nick Suzuki, and Matt Phillips on our third line. The defense is really good here. I have no issues with this. However, as I've mentioned a million times so far, Elvis Merzlikins, can you be the guy for us? I need you to prove it to me. So I want to take back all the disrespect I sent over to Merzlikins because he didn't deserve any of it. 28th in the entire league, a 38-42-2 record. We're here. The offense absolutely flying. The defense still really bad, but you know what? We have a 0 overall backing up Merzlikins. He skews the averages here. I don't care about these scoring numbers whatsoever. I just want to see what Merzlikins was up to. Yeah, these guys are performing. You love to see it. Our king, Merzlikins, what's he up to? 35 wins, 21 losses, 1 OT loss, 2 shouts, a 9-12 and a 304. The king is here. We can win with him. All we need is a backup because a 3-23-1 record is the only reason why we didn't make the playoffs. All I ask for in this next wheel spin is we can get another goaltender. I don't even care if it's a 75 overall backup. As long as we can bring in a goaltender that can make a stop from time to time, we're going to be winning a Stanley Cup. So all I ask is you give me a jersey number that a goaltender wears, and then we're going to be okay here. We're going to be landing on number 84. Now, I don't think a goaltender wears jersey number 84, but I think we'll still be walking away with a great asset. So here's the situation that we're in. We can't take Gavrikov. We already selected somebody from the LA Kings. We can't really take Ruda here because he's a defenseman and we don't need another one. We're not allowed to take Janot because we already selected somebody from the Tampa Bay Lightning. So that means we're going to be selecting this player right here from the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm going to be so completely honest. I have never heard of this person. But you know what, Landon? You're going to be the guy we're bringing to this team here. You can play some fourth line minutes. You're not going to make the team any worse. I can tell you that. So we've been on a massive cold streak when it comes to players. Pierre-Luc Dubois, Adam Phillips, Nick Suzuki wasn't a bad selection, but now we're getting Landon from the Chicago Blackhawks, a 72 overall. Yeah, we're adding a 72 overall to this team. Yeah, so we're toast. Just for a bit of context, the players we got before these last 4 selections, we got Adam Fox, then we got Matthew Tkachuk, and then things have just went completely downhill. So unfortunately, I think this season we're once again going to be missing the playoffs here. We didn't really improve the fourth line whatsoever. Landon, I got nothing against you, but you're a 72 overall. These are not good enough stats for a fourth line player for us. So normally I only highlight the big trades, and this is one of them, but this is just such a weird trade. Marco Kasper going to the Pittsburgh Penguins for Letang and Jeff Carter. I don't know what it is, but this just looks like such a weird trade to me. Like Chris Letang, I understand he's an important asset in this deal. I don't know why, but something about this deal just doesn't look right to me. Maybe it's just Chris Letang playing for another team. I don't know how I feel about this. And when Detroit makes one move, they're going to make another, and Jonas Brodin, you're now off to the Detroit Red Wings. So I guess Detroit said screw a rebuild and screw all of our young players. Kevin Hayes and Pranko, you're now off to the Detroit Red Wings. This is so odd. So I don't think it's much of a surprise this team's not going to be good this season. We added a 72 overall. I don't know what you guys expected. Like usual, we're going to see the top guys performing here. Matthew Tkachuk, 92 points. Steven Stamkos, 76. Erik Karlsson, 65. While the goaltending from Merzlikins not quite as good this season. And Jordan NHL, you didn't even pick up a single win here. So yeah, there's only so much that Elvis Merzlikins can do when he has a backup that bad. Meanwhile, it looks like all those moves worked out for the Detroit Red Wings. They're Stanley Cup champions. So hey, if you go all in and end up winning a Stanley Cup, it's well worth giving up all those young assets. Now give me a goaltender. I don't care if they're a 99 overall. I don't care if they're a 75 overall. I don't think we're getting that with jersey number 67. Now call me a casual all you want, but I'm pretty sure there's no goaltender that wears the jersey number 67. If there is, I'm going to look like a big idiot, but it doesn't look like it. Lawson Crouse, that's who we're adding. We are down tremendous. Now the real question is, am I adding a player from the Arizona Coyotes or am I adding a player from the Utah whatevers? That's the real question. Now Lawson Crouse, you're not going to be a superstar on this team, but you know what? You are going to be playing some third line minutes because you are better than Pierre-Luc Dubois, so he's moving down to the fourth line. So we're one player away from completing the forward core here, and we're one goaltender away from completing this entire team. The goaltender's the big thing right now. Merzlikins, you've convinced me that you can win a Stanley Cup with us. However, I don't know if we'll be able to make the playoffs considering Jordan loses almost every single game he plays in. Until we get a backup goaltender though, I'm not too sure if this team is going to be seeing any success in the playoffs, because I don't even think we'll make it there. Now, plain and simple, this wasn't a great year for the team, even though we had a decent record. We're 26th in the entire league, a 37-37-8 record. The offense completely disappeared though. Our goaltending wasn't too bad. Yeah, 370 isn't good, but you do have to remember we still have a 0 overall. The offense is what held us back this season, and that makes no sense if you ask me. Like, seriously, what are these numbers here? Yeah, we have some amazing depth scoring, but when it came down to the final game of the season and we needed some big time players to step up, we couldn't rely on anyone here. Yeah, the depth scoring was great, but we need one player to lead the way here, and that's not what we had. I got nothing against depth scoring. When it gets to game 7 though, you need somebody that can perform. Merzlikins, you played in almost every single game this season, 34 wins, 3 shells, an 898 and a 316. Once again, it comes down to that backup goalie and taking a bit of the pressure off Merzlikins. Like, the fact that this man has to play 75 games for us to even be competitive is absolutely ridiculous. But you know what? We don't have to worry about that any longer. The Vancouver Canucks are winning a Stanley Cup, and I have a feeling we're going to get a goaltender with this next spin. I'm just feeling it. Now, hopefully I don't gas it up and then we don't get a goaltender or something. We need somebody. I don't care who it is, whether you're a superstar or a backup. Number 86 is definitely not giving us a goaltender. I can tell you that for free. Now, Jack Hughes isn't the worst player in the world, but considering we could have had Nikita Kucherov, yeah, that's tough. That's real tough. So with this selection right here, 93 overall Jack Hughes is coming to the team. I mean, I guess the difference in overall between him and Nikita Kucherov isn't actually that much. It's a 3 overall difference. So you know what? I can't really complain with that. Jack Hughes, welcome to the team. You're going to be one of the top players on this team. Our forward core is officially complete here. The defense is complete. All we need is a backup goaltender. So at this point, all we need to do is make it into the postseason. Jack Hughes is going to be joining the first line. He's going to have Svechnikov and Matthew Tkachuk at his side. As long as we can get into the playoffs, this team's going to be competing for a Stanley Cup. Obviously, our record's not going to be good because we still have Jordan NHL in between the pipes for us. But if we can make it into the postseason, then we just need Merzlikins to perform when it matters most. So it's officially happened. After finishing out the forward core here, we're third in the NHL with a 52-26-4 record. Jack Hughes was the missing piece for us. The offense is flying, while the defense still needs to be a bit better. But you know what? These numbers are skewed because of our backup. I guarantee you, when we look at Merzlikins' numbers, they're going to look way better than what our goals against actually is. Jack Hughes, 101 points here. Matthew Tkachuk, 89. Erik Karlsson, 78. The boys are performing when it matters most here. And Merzlikins, 49 wins, 2 shouts, a 906 and a 272. These are the numbers I'm looking for. Now I just need you to do it in the postseason. But I can't see us going on a deep run in this postseason. We got the greatest team of all time up first, the St. Louis Blues. So the Everett Elks are absolutely rolling right now, a 3-1 lead over the St. Louis Blues. If we can beat the St. Louis Blues, then we can beat anyone. St. Louis might be waking up in game 5 here, but it's not going to take too much more. We're going to be beating them in game 6. Moving on to the second round, we're going to have ourselves another tough matchup. We have the Winnipeg Jets up next. We're all well aware who's on the Winnipeg Jets team. This isn't going to be an easy matchup by any means. But I was just completely yapping about the Winnipeg Jets because the Everett Elks are just on a different level here. We're taking them down in a sweep. Now we're halfway through the postseason and we're just a few more wins away from hoisting a Stanley Cup. But as we continue to advance, that means the matchup's going to keep on getting tougher, and now we have Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. Now, of course, if we're taking on Connor McDavid, it's going to be a tight series. We've been exchanging games so far. Game 5 is going to be a massive win for us. We're taking that one 2-0. Can we advance to the Stanley Cup final with a win in Game 5 here? Yes, we can, and here we go. The Stanley Cup final, the Everett Elks taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now, it's time for this team to lock in. Can we win the Stanley Cup after adding Jack Hughes to the team? The offense is looking absolutely fantastic here. A Game 5 victory would give us the Stanley Cup. That's fine. We're just going to wait till Game 6 here. A 2-1 victory is going to give the Everett Elks the Stanley Cup, and just like that, the video is complete. And without this man right here, we're not winning a Stanley Cup. So if you made it to the end, comment Jack Hughes. Bro was an absolute hero for us. 10 goals, 17 assists to lead the way. Erik Karlsson was great. But you know what? If you don't want to comment Jack Hughes, comment Merzlikins. 16 wins, 2 shouts, a 917, a 257. I had questions about bringing you onto this team. But you know what? You lived up to the expectations, and in your first postseason appearance, you were able to hoist a Stanley Cup with this team.